The rain battered the windows of Alex's small apartment, the kind of relentless downpour that made the city feel like it was drowning in its own secrets. He sat cross-legged on his worn-out couch, phone in hand, scrolling through Grindr with a mix of boredom and curiosity. The app's grid of faces glowed in the dim light, each profile a fleeting promise of connection, or something else entirely. Alex wasn't new to the game. He'd been on enough meetups to know the drill. Some were awkward, some were fun, and a few left him with stories he'd rather forget. But tonight, something felt off. Maybe it was the storm, or maybe it was the way his gut twisted when he saw that profile. The profile had no face pic, just a grainy shot of a shadowed figure standing under a street lamp, the light casting an eerie halo around them. The username was simply Wraith. No bio, no stats, just a single line. Meet me tonight. You won't forget it. Alex smirked at the melodrama, but couldn't shake the chill creeping up his spine. He tapped out a quick message. Bold opener. What's your deal? The response came almost instantly. I'm close. Meet me at the old warehouse on 4th, 11 p.m. Alex glanced at the clock, 10:15. The warehouse was a 10-minute walk, abandoned for years, the kind of place kids dared each other to sneak into. He hesitated, his thumb hovering over the keyboard. Something about the message felt too direct, too urgent. But the boredom won out, and he typed back. Maybe. You got a face pic? No reply. He waited, the rain drumming harder. But Wraith stayed silent. Against his better judgment, Alex grabbed his jacket and headed out. The streets were deserted, the storm keeping most people indoors. The warehouse loomed at the end of 4th Street, its broken windows like empty eyes watching him approach. He checked his phone again, no new messages. The unease was stronger now, but he was here, and turning back felt like admitting defeat. He pushed open the rusted gate, the screech of metal swallowed by the storm. Inside, the warehouse was a cavern of shadows, the air thick with the smell of damp concrete and something faintly metallic. His sneakers echoed as he stepped deeper, his phone's flashlight cutting through the dark. Hello, he called, his voice smaller than he'd intended. No answer. He was about to leave when he heard it, a faint shuffle, like someone dragging their feet across the floor. His heart kicked up a notch. Wraith? You here? A figure stepped into the edge of his light. Tall, lanky, dressed in a hooded jacket that hid their face. You came, they said, their voice low, almost drowned by the rain. Alex forced a laugh, trying to shake off the nerves. Yeah, well, you made it sound interesting. So, what's this about? The figure didn't move closer, just tilted their head, like they were studying him. You're curious, they said. That's good. Most people aren't. Alex's smile faltered. Look, I'm not into games. You want to talk, let's talk. Otherwise, I'm out. He turned to leave, but the figure was suddenly closer, too close, without seeming to move. Don't go, they said, and there was something in their tone, not pleading but commanding. Alex's phone buzzed in his hand, and he glanced down to see a new message from Wraith. Look behind you. His blood ran cold. He spun around, flashlights sweeping the darkness, but there was nothing, just empty space and the distant drip of water. When he turned back, the figure was gone. His breath hitched, and he backed toward the exit, heart pounding. The phone buzzed again. Another message. You can't leave yet. We're just getting started. Across town, Mia was ignoring the same storm, her laptop open to her editing software as she pieced together her latest YouTube video. She was a small creator, barely scraping 10,000 subscribers, but her niche, animated horror stories based on real-life experiences, had a loyal following. Her latest project was a trio of Grindr horror stories she'd found on Reddit, each one creepier than the last. She was deep into animating the second story, a tale about a guy who met someone who knew way too much about his life, when her phone pinged. A new email from an anonymous sender. Love your work. Got a story for you. Meet me at the diner on 7th midnight. Mia frowned. She got fan messages sometimes, but this was weirdly specific. The diner was open 24/7, a greasy spoon she passed every day. She checked the time, 11:30. Curiosity tugged at her, the same itch that made her chase creepy stories in the first place. She grabbed her bag and headed out, promising herself she'd stay cautious. The diner was nearly empty, just a bored waitress and a trucker nursing coffee. Mia slid into a booth, scanning for anyone who looked like they were waiting for her. At exactly midnight, a man walked in. He was older, maybe 40, with a gaunt face and eyes that seemed to look right through her. He sat across from her, without asking. "You're Mia," he said, not a question. "Yeah," she said, gripping her phone under the table. "You the one who emailed me?" He nodded, pulling out a battered notebook. "I've got a story for your channel, but it's not like the others. This one's still happening." Mia's curiosity spiked, but so did her unease. "What do you mean, still happening?" He leaned closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "People are disappearing. Grindr users. They meet someone, go to a location, and then gone. No trace. I've been tracking it for months." He slid the notebook toward her, pages filled with names, dates, and locations. Mia's eyes caught one detail: 4th Street Warehouse, October 2025. Her stomach dropped. That was tonight. "Why are you telling me this?" she asked, her voice tight. The man smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Because you tell stories. And this one needs to be told. But be careful, Mia. They know you're watching." He stood abruptly, leaving the notebook behind, and walked out into the rain. Mia opened the notebook, her hands shaking. The last entry was fresh, ink still slightly smudged. Alex Carter, 4th Street Warehouse, 11 p.m., October 2025. She checked her phone, 12:15. Whoever Alex was, he was out there right now. Back at the warehouse, Alex was moving fast, his flashlight bouncing as he headed for the exit. The messages kept coming, each one more cryptic. "You're not alone. Look up. Run." He didn't look up, didn't stop, just kept moving until he was outside, the rain soaking him instantly. His phone buzzed again, but he ignored it, sprinting toward the main road. He didn't see the figure watching from the warehouse roof, their silhouette blending with the storm. Mia, meanwhile, was back at her apartment, the notebook open on her desk. She tried calling the police, but they brushed her off, no evidence, no crime. She started digging online, cross-referencing the names in the notebook with missing persons reports. There were too many matches. Her phone pinged again, another anonymous email. "Check Grindr. Username, Wraith." Her heart raced as she downloaded the app, creating a burner profile. Sure enough, Wraith was there, online, their profile unchanged from the description in the notebook. She hesitated, then sent a message. "Who are you?" The reply was instant. "You're getting close, Mia. Too close." The storm raged on, and somewhere in the city, Alex was still running, unaware that his story was already being written into Mia's next video, a video that might never be finished. Alex's breath came in sharp gasps as he stumbled onto the main road, the city's neon lights blurred by the rain. His phone vibrated relentlessly in his pocket, but he didn't dare check it, not yet. The warehouse was a hulking shadow behind him, and every instinct screamed to keep moving. He ducked into a 24-hour convenience store, the fluorescent lights jarring after the dark. The clerk barely glanced up from his phone as Alex leaned against a shelf of chips, trying to steady his nerves. He finally pulled out his phone, hands trembling, and opened Grindr. Wraith's profile was still active, the shadowed figure under the street lamp staring back at him. A new message waited. "You think you're safe now?" Alex's stomach twisted. He looked around the store, half expecting to see that hooded figure lurking between the aisles. The clerk was still engrossed in his screen, oblivious. Alex typed a reply, fingers fumbling. "What do you want?" "Leave me alone." The response was immediate. "You chose to come. Now you're part of it." "Part of what?" He wanted to scream, but instead, he blocked the profile and deleted the app, as if that could erase what had happened. His phone buzzed again, a text from an unknown number. "Check your photos." Dread settled like a stone in his chest. He opened his gallery, and there it was, a photo he hadn't taken. It showed the inside of the warehouse, his own silhouette in the foreground, captured from above. Someone had been watching him. He deleted the photo, heart pounding, and bolted out of the store, ignoring the clerk's half-hearted hey. Meanwhile, Mia sat hunched over her laptop, the notebook's pages spread out like a puzzle she couldn't solve. The names, dates, and locations formed a chilling pattern, one that pointed to something deliberate, coordinated. She'd found a subreddit dedicated to missing persons cases, and after a few cryptic posts, a user DM'd her a link to a private chatroom called The Watchers. The name sent a shiver down her spine, but she joined anyway, using a VPN to mask her location. The chat was a flurry of activity, users swapping stories about strange Grindr encounters, all eerily similar to the ones in the notebook. One user, Shadow Seeker, claimed to have tracked Wraith's IP to a server that bounced between multiple cities, untraceable. Another user warned, "Stop digging. They'll find you." Mia's fingers hovered over her keyboard. She typed, "Who's they?" No response. The chat room went silent, and then, one by one, users started leaving. Her screen flickered, and for a split second, her webcam light blinked on. She slammed her laptop shut, heart racing. The notebook lay open to Alex Carter's entry, and she couldn't shake the feeling that she was running out of time to warn him. She searched for Alex Carter online, hoping to find a social media profile or anything that could help her track him down. A Facebook profile popped up, same city, same age range. She sent a message. "Are you the Alex who was at the 4th Street warehouse tonight? If so, you're in danger. Contact me ASAP." She included her number, hoping it wasn't a mistake. Minutes later, her phone buzzed with a call from an unknown number. She answered, her voice cautious. "Hello. Is this Mia?" The voice was panicked, breathless. "I got your message. How do you know about the warehouse?" Alex was pacing outside a shuttered laundromat, the rain soaking through his jacket. Mia's voice on the phone was calm but urgent, and she laid out everything. The notebook, the disappearances, the Grindr connection. "You need to stay somewhere public," she said. "Somewhere with cameras, people. Don't go home." Alex glanced around, the street empty except for the occasional car slicing through the rain. "I don't even know what's going on," he said. "This Wraith guy, he knew I was there. He sent me a photo I didn't take." Mia's breath caught. "A photo? Send it to me." Alex hesitated, then admitted he'd deleted it. Mia didn't miss a beat. "Okay, listen. I'm working on a video about this, but it's bigger than I thought. There's a diner on 7th Street, open all night. Meet me there. I've got something you need to see." Alex agreed, though every nerve in his body screamed to keep running. He caught a cab to the diner, the driver's radio crackling with a news report about a missing local man, last seen near 4th Street. Alex's blood ran cold. He didn't catch the name, but the coincidence was too much. When he arrived at the diner, Mia was already there, the notebook open in front of her. She looked up, her eyes wide with recognition. "You're Alex?" He nodded, sliding into the booth. "What's this about? How do you know my name?" Mia pushed the notebook toward him, pointing to his entry. "Someone gave me this. They're tracking people like you, people who meet Wraith. I don't know who they are, but they're watching us both now." Alex stared at the page, his name scrawled in smudged ink. "This is insane," he muttered. "What do they want?" Mia shook her head. "I don't know, but I'm starting to think it's not just one person. The chat room, the notebook, the messages, it's like a network." She leaned closer, her voice low. "I'm going to keep digging, but we need to be smart. They're always one step ahead." As they spoke, the diner's door jingled, and a new customer walked in, a tall figure in a hooded jacket, their face obscured. Alex's heart stopped. Mia followed his gaze, her hand tightening around her coffee mug. The figure didn't sit, just stood by the counter, ordering something in a low voice. Mia whispered, "We need to move. Now." They slipped out the back exit, the notebook tucked under Mia's arm. The rain hadn't let up, and the city felt alive with unseen eyes. Alex's phone buzzed again, an email this time, from an anonymous sender. "You can't run forever. We're closer than you think." Attached was a photo of the diner's interior, taken minutes ago, with Alex and Mia in the frame. The alley behind the diner was a narrow maze of overflowing dumpsters and flickering streetlights, the rain turning the pavement into a slick mirror of the city's glow. Alex and Mia moved quickly, their footsteps muffled by the storm. The photo on Alex's phone burned in his mind, a snapshot of them in the diner, taken from an angle that suggested someone had been sitting just a few booths away. Mia clutched the notebook to her chest, her eyes darting to every shadow. "We need somewhere safe," she whispered. "Somewhere they can't follow." Alex's voice was tight. "My place is out. They know too much already. You got anywhere?" Mia hesitated, then nodded. "My friend's studio. She's out of town and I have a key. It's not far." They cut through a side street, the city's pulse seeming to hum with menace. Every passing car, every distant figure, felt like a threat. Alex's phone stayed silent, but the absence of new messages was somehow worse, like Wraith, or whoever was behind this, was waiting for the perfect moment. The studio was in a converted loft above a shuttered bookstore, accessible only through a creaky fire escape. Inside, it was a cluttered sanctuary of art supplies and half-finished canvases, the air smelling faintly of paint and coffee. Mia locked the door behind them, double-checking the bolt. "Okay," she said, setting the notebook on a cluttered table. "We need to figure out what we're dealing with. This isn't just some creep on Grindr. It's organized." Alex slumped onto a stool, running a hand through his wet hair. "Organized how? Like a cult? Hackers?" Mia opened the notebook, flipping to a page of scribbled notes she'd added after their diner escape. "Look at this," she said, pointing to a list of usernames from the chat room she'd joined. Shadow Seeker, Night Trace, Ghostnet. All of them are talking about Wraith, like it's not just one person. Like it's a handle that gets passed around. And these locations, she tapped a map she'd sketched in the margins that's marking the warehouse, the diner, and other spots from the notebook. They're all over the city, but they're connected. Abandoned places, mostly. Places people don't go. Alex leaned closer, his unease growing. "So, what? They're luring people to these spots? For what?" Mia's eyes darkened. "That's what I'm trying to figure out. The stories I was animating for my channel, those Grindr horror stories, they all had one thing in common. The person they met knew things they shouldn't. Personal details, routines, secrets. It's like they're being studied." Alex's mind flashed back to the warehouse, the figure's cryptic words. "You're curious. That's good." He shivered. "They knew I'd go. That message, it was like they were daring me." Mia nodded, her fingers tracing the notebook's pages. "Exactly. It's a game to them. But why? And why us?" Before Alex could answer, a faint creak echoed from the fire escape. They froze, eyes locked on the window. The rain made it hard to see, but a shadow shifted against the glass, deliberate and slow. Mia grabbed a heavy paint roller from the table, her voice a hiss. "Stay quiet." Alex's heart pounded as he scanned the room for something to use as a weapon, settling on a metal easel leg. They crept toward the window, staying low. The shadow lingered, then vanished as quickly as it appeared. Mia peeked through the blinds, her breath shaky. "Gone. For now." "We can't stay here," Alex said, his voice barely steady. "They know where we are." Mia nodded, grabbing her laptop and the notebook. "There's a library a few blocks away. It's open late, lots of people, cameras. We can dig deeper there." Alex hesitated, the weight of the night pressing down on him. "Dig deeper?" "Mia, we're in over our heads. We should go to the cops." "I tried," she said, her tone sharp. "They didn't take me seriously. No evidence, no crime, remember? But this," she held up the notebook. "This is evidence. We just need to connect the dots." Alex wanted to argue, but the memory of that photo, him and Mia in the diner, unaware they were being watched, pushed him forward. "Fine. But we stick together. No splitting up." The library was a fortress of fluorescent lights and quiet murmurs, a stark contrast to the chaos outside. Mia set up her laptop in a corner cubicle, pulling up the chatroom logs she'd screenshotted before the group went silent. Alex kept watch, his eyes scanning the other patrons, A student dozing over a textbook, a janitor sweeping the aisles, an older woman flipping through a magazine. No one seemed out of place, but he couldn't shake the feeling of being observed. Mia's fingers flew across the keyboard, cross-referencing the notebook's names with online records. "Look at this," she whispered, tilting the screen toward Alex. A news article from 6 months ago detailed a missing person, a guy named Ethan, last seen after meeting someone from Grindr. The location? An abandoned factory on the city's outskirts. "It matches," Mia said. "Same pattern. And there's more, dozens of cases, all brushed off as runaways or accidents." Alex's phone buzzed, and he nearly dropped it. Another email from the anonymous sender. "You're digging in the wrong places. Ask about the signal." Attached was a grainy video clip, just 10 seconds long. It showed a dark room, lit only by the glow of a phone screen. A figure sat in the shadows, their face obscured, typing rapidly. The audio was distorted, but Alex caught a single phrase. "The signal is live." The video cut out abruptly. "What the hell is the signal?" Alex muttered, his voice low. Mia's eyes were wide, her mind racing. "I don't know, but it's a lead. We need to find out what it means." She opened a new tab, searching for Grindr signal disappearances. The results were sparse, but one blog post caught her eye. A conspiracy theorist's ramble about a hidden network using dating apps to track people tied to some kind of signal that scrambled GPS data. It sounded unhinged, but the mention of Grindr and specific locations matched the notebook too closely to ignore. As Mia dove deeper into the blog, Alex's phone buzzed again. This time, it was a Grindr notification. He hadn't reinstalled the app, yet there it was, back on his home screen. A new message from Wraith. "The library's nice, but it won't hide you. Check the stacks, row 17. Alex's blood ran cold. He grabbed Mia's arm. "We need to go. Now." But Mia was already standing, her eyes fixed on something across the library. In row 17, barely visible through the shelves, a figure stood motionless, their face hidden by a hood. The janitor was gone, the students still asleep, the older woman nowhere to be seen. The library felt smaller, the air heavier, as if the walls themselves were closing in.